You're muted, so just so you know.
What was that? Is everybody in?
Yes.
Okay, this is Board of Building Standards hearings for December 7th, 2023. I'm Amy Rivera.
Ted August, board member.
I'm Wayne Miller.
Member Richard King, Boards Administration.
Philip Motto, Boards Administration.
Jay Scaria, Department of License and Inspections.
Thomas Robakowski, City of Philadelphia, License and Inspections.
Okay, thank you. Our first case is 3937 Warren Street. Can whoever is here for that case let me know that they're here for that case?
Okay, yeah, I'm Jonathan Scro. I'm an attorney at Community Legal Services. I represent the appellant Junaid Malik Ali, and Mr. Ali is here on the phone with that 910 number.
And
Okay.
Thomas Robakowski, I'll be representing the department.
Okay. Mr. Ali, I'm going to have to swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Mr. Ali, you're muted. That was directed at you. Can you unmute yourself?
If he's on the phone, he can push *6 to unmute.
Will he be testifying?
I don't believe so.
Okay, if it's only you, then we'll
yeah.
proceed. Oh,
Okay.
wait, he just unmuted.
I think he's there now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Mr. Ali, do you swear to tell the truth,
Yes.
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I don't swear against God, but I promise to tell the truth under the penalty of perjury and hold everyone else to the same.
Okay, that's fine. All right, sorry, Phil, do you want to read this into the record? And
Yes.
we'll begin.
This is item number 1 on today's list, MI 2023-006-535 for the property located at 3937 Warren Street. Jonathan Sagaro is the appellant. He's present in the room. I apologize if I mispronounced your name, sir.
No problem at all. May I proceed?
Yes.
Okay, so this is Mr. Ali's appeal of an unsafe violation issued in October of 2023. And it's our position that the violation is unfounded because the underlying issues have already been addressed. There's a little bit of a history here and a context that I'd like to start with. There were some L&I violations initially issued against this property in May of 2021 for damage to exterior walls, which was essentially stucco that had fallen and exposed some brick on the bottom part of the front of the property and then a little bit on the side of the property. There were subsequent inspections in January 2022 and April of 2023. And it's important to note at the outset that none of those inspections resulted in an unsafe notice. And in fact, Mr. Ali was unaware of those violations until a conservatorship petition was filed against his property in June of 2023, during which these violations were weaponized against him in an effort to dispossess him of his property. But he did become aware of the violations at that time, partially due to my involvement in the case, and he promptly made the repairs to the stucco and the exterior walls. And I have some photos that I'm willing to share showing those repairs. Nevertheless, and quite coincidentally, only a few days before the trial in the conservatorship case, L&I returns to the property and issues this unsafe notice. Mr. Ali was pretty alarmed by this. Called L&I and asked that the inspector return to the property so that he could understand what was going on. And it was during a subsequent visit that same day in the afternoon that the inspector told Mr. Ali and acknowledged that the violations, the existing violations had been fixed. So we don't understand any basis for an unsafe violation. It doesn't make sense that if the initial violations were cured at that point, why a more severe violation was issued after the repairs. And I'd conclude by noting that it seems particularly unfair under the circumstances to require Mr. Ali to retain an engineer in this case. He lives on a fixed income and can't afford to spend thousands of dollars on an expert report. It just seems unfair to put the burden on him, a low-income homeowner, to prove that a problem doesn't exist when he's been actively working to address these issues as he's become aware of them.
Nice. Well, Tom, do you want to give your presentation as well?
So what I have is I have the property at 3937 Warren Street was declared as unsafe on or around October 17th of 2023. I will present the case record and the photos that were issued or taken of the property when the property was declared as unsafe. I will say that I do see that there is an updated inspection. The updated inspection took place November 29th, November 28th, and was added into the system on November 29th, indicating that some repairs have been made of the stucco, but due to the violation issued on the property, one of the violations is that there is a engineering requirement, and that violation is still, or the violations are still active against the property following that re-inspection. With that, I'll share my screen and show the photos that I have, but I asked for the appellant's representative to also show his photos of the work that was done to the property at my conclusion. I'll share my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
So what I have is, just in the interest of time, I won't go through the appellant's filing as it's all in everybody's file, but I'll go right to the photos that were uploaded. These were photos taken of the property in October of 2023. I'll spin this photo and also enlarge it so you can see a little bit better. As you can see that this is the front of the property at 3937 Warren, where you have delamination of the brickwork under some stucco that is falling off of the property. You can also
Christopher Kia.
We'll get to you when we finish this case, Mr. Kier.
and then this is a smaller or a enlarged or a zoomed in photograph of the front of the property, showing the lamination of the brickwork, of the exterior work, and then the stucco work coming off of the property. Typically, you'll see a stucco installation where you'll have wire screening affixed to the masonry units, and then the stucco finish, basically a skim coat, and then the finish coat applied to that wire. In looking at this install, it looks like it's just the stucco has been applied over top of the masonry units and not having a wire mesh fixed to the property. Following that inspection in October, the front of the property was affixed with a unsafe posturing, and that's the right-hand side photograph. This is another photograph of the side wall of the property. There is a fracture that is opened, or that is visible along the fence, and it goes up the adjacent or the wall of the property. And then there's another fracture of the stucco on the front wall above where it would be the affixed signage of Spring Garden Street. And this is an enlargement or a zoomed in photo of the concerns with the stucco work on the masonry wall along the fenced alleyway. And then I'll rest in that's our packet. And with that said, I would ask the appellant's representative to present his updated photographs with the work that was done.
Okay, and I could share my screen now. Could someone give me permission to share?
Debbie, can you handle that?
And before we
Yes,
go on
it
with
should be
that,
automatic.
sorry, before we go
At
on
the
to that,
bottom.
before we go on to that, quick question for Tom, just to clarify. Is from what you're showing there, is the feeling that this is currently unsafe as it is, or structurally unsound, or that there's the potential because of continuing infiltration, you know, into the brick of the wall?
So Mr. Agos, I would say both are a current or a concern. One is the condition of the stucco that remains on the property, in that is it affixed to the property? From what we can see, or what basically peeled off the property, the masonry units are not able to support the weight load or how this stucco is affixed to the property. Typically with a wire installation, they'll affix the wire to the wall with some sort of masonry nail. And in looking at the brickwork, it's delaminated, it's turned soft. I'm not sure if the brickwork would be able to support a new wire mesh being affixed to it.
Thanks.
Okay, I'll share my screen. All right, so here is a photograph of that same portion of the front of the property with the repair having been made. I can zoom in if you like. And Mr. Rogowski didn't, or I'm sorry, Tom did not cover this part of the property, but it was our understanding that there was an issue previously on this side of the property here near this downspout, which Mr. Ali also had repaired. So that is the current condition of the property.
So I'm going to, I'm sorry, I have to check and make sure. Okay, I was making sure that I wasn't unmuted, but I actually am going to share two more other photos. These photos were taken following an inspection November 28th. And it does show and it does reflect the work that was done to the front of the property. But one of those photographs is, I'll share it. I'll just incorporate it onto the screen and share my screen that way with the area of concern. So this was an updated photograph taken November 28th, and you can see that the front stucco work has been done as the appellant has testified to, or at least presented to the board. But this area here in the common area behind the gate is still reflecting some work needed.
Can you zoom in on that?
Sure.
Yeah, that's quite hard to see.
There we go.
You're not sharing anymore then.
Okay.
Okay.
So my final question would be, does 3937 own this portion of the property? Do they have access to this gated off area?
No, and there's a really somewhat complicated history here where the city, I've been told by Mr. Ali, the city actually claimed that land, I think by eminent domain many years ago, and now a nonprofit had constructed a a building there that I think Mr. Ali has told me is a welfare to work facility. So he's never actually understood that wall to be his responsibility. And I'm not even sure that he has access to it. He could address that.
So it would be your
No,
representation that that would be a party wall then?
Access to that wall. Hello?
Say that, Mr. Ali, say that again.
No, I do not have access to that wall. And if you're going to say that that's now my wall, I need that in writing that that's my property, and I will have no problem with fixing it. My brother is an engineer from the University of Pittsburgh. He graduated with his EIT status, and he came out and looked at the brick and said there was nothing wrong with the brick, and for me to apply the stucco like I did onto the wall, and that it would hold it. He said the building is not leaning away, the bricks is not leaning away from the property at all in any way, shape, or fashion. That crack being, if it's going to be given to me, I have no problem with fixing it, but I need it in writing that that is my property, and I need access to that side because I do not own it. That portion of the building was tore down belongs to the city of Philadelphia. But if you're saying that that is now my property, I need it in writing that is my property, and then I will fix that side that I didn't have access to.
Yeah, so I think the bottom line here, as Mr. Oddly just said, I think if it comes down to making an additional repair to the stucco, he has no problem doing that as long as he has access and owns the portion of the property that we're talking about. It's really this order to obtain an engineer that would be cost prohibitive.
Well, if my hearing mistakes me, Mr. Ali just testified that his brother is a engineer in the state of Pennsylvania who graduated in Pittsburgh.
My brother graduated, not to interrupt you, my brother graduated with his engineering degree from the University of Pittsburgh. He is not a practicing engineer, but he came out, he used to work for the state on their PennDOT unit.
Okay.
He's out on disability.
He
came out and he did examine, and he did come out and examine the bricks, and there was nothing wrong with the bricks. The bricks was not protruding away from the edifice, and the stucco would adhere to the brick that I put up.
Okay. Well, that's why we're here in front of the appeals board, and with that, the department rests.
Mr. Ali, I heard you say your brother was an engineer in training. I have a question. I'm trying to understand the conservatorship takeover, which implies that no one lives in this building. Is the building vacant?
No, I live here. That's why they backed out, because they were in violation of the initial petition that it had to be vacant.
Mr. Ali, I can answer that question. The conservatorship case was settled and no longer is pending. And it was because it was legally unfounded due to Mr. Ali's occupancy.
Right. Okay, I'd like to caucus. So we'll take a short break while the board caucuses.
Take your phone with you, okay?
We reviewed the information, and we're going to sustain the appeal with the proviso that they do not need the engineer's report, but they do need to have a permit for the work that was done. So we're waiving the engineer's report.
Okay.
Stucco work
Relatively new. Can you clarify what you mean by for the work that was already done?
The stucco work that was already done. It should have been permitted, and he can still pull a permit for that.
Yeah,
Even minor repairs to the stucco require a permit. That was not my understanding of the code.
There is a requirement for a permit for an easy permit for stucco. Is the board removing the unsafe violation and just issuing for a easy permit for stucco?
I believe so. And
Right, but
The easy permit will
in my
relieve
years within there,
one second, just let him finish.
Mr. Lee, hold on a minute.
The easy permit for stucco will be the make safe permit. And that's what's gonna close out the violation.
So the department will remove the unsafe violation on the property that will allow the appellant to apply for an easy permit by way of online submit.
Oh, so you're saying he can't get the easy permit for the violation?
No, because it is designated as an unsafe property.
Okay.
So
Then
we're.
yes, yeah, I agree with that then. We'll remove the unsafe violation, but he has to get an easy permit for the stucco repair.
That
So
he's
I
already,
will-
that
so
he's
the
already done.
So the
Right.
He's already
department will,
done.
so the department will keep the case open. We will comply the violation per the variance for the unsafe designation and the stucco designation, or I'm sorry, the engineering designation, but we will keep the exterior wall designation until the easy permit is compliant, is marked compliant.
And we're not requiring
Okay.
done to the inaccessible area.
Okay, thank you. That was
Yeah, I
gonna be
have
my question. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, good deal.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
You hear me, Aim?
I do. You're gonna take
Okay.
on the next case, Wayne?
Sure.
Okay.
That beside Franny King. Right off Coconut.
It would be Aiken Street, Wayne?
Muted.
Yes, it's Aiken Street. Is it people from Aiken Street here, Deb?
Yes,
Okay, who's here from Aiken Street?
I am the attorney for C Money Real Estate Company LLC, the current owner of 2026 Aiken Street, and Christopher Keir is on in a telephone call as well.
Okay, you don't have to be sworn in because you're a lawyer and lawyers always tell the truth. The thing is, who's laughing about that? Is Christopher going to be testifying?
I don't think he needs to. He's here because he's certainly interested in what's going on. I know he's about to board a plane, so
Okay.
he may have to jump
All right.
off.
Okay, so we'll get started then.
There
We
he
need
is.
to, we need to swear him in, we will.
Yeah, I
Okay,
don't see that I don't see that being necessary, but if need be, he's certainly here.
Okay, fine, okay. I'm Wayne Miller, board member.
Amy Rivera, board member.
Ted Agus, board member.
Deborah Richardson, Boards Administration.
Philip Motto, Boards Administration.
Jay Scoria, Department of License and Inspections.
Thomas Rybakowski, City of Philadelphia License and Inspections.
Okay, Phil, you want to read that into the record?
Yes, sir. This is number 2 on today's list. MI 2023-006-874 for the property located at 2026 South Aiken Street. The appellant is C Money Real Estate Company LLC, and they are present and represented in the room.
Thank you.
Okay, Tom, you want to tell us a little bit about the project?
So I can speak on the violation for the property at 2026 Aiken Street. The property was declared as eminently dangerous. Following that designation, the property was placed out to bid for demolition. The owner and the appellant's representation today did file for a temporary restraining order in the Court of Common Pleas. That is actually active litigation in that there is a status hearing for that on December 14th of 2023. Being that that's a higher jurisdiction, I don't believe the board has any standing on this matter, but we wanted to preserve the record. I did have communications prior to today's hearing with the appellant's representation, Mr. Bolasini, in that we just wanted to present it to the record. I am pleased to say that there is a issued bank safe permit for the repair of this property. That permit was issued December 4th of 2023. I do, in the preserve of the record, that inspections do need to be scheduled for the repair of the property. And that has been represented or explained to the representation today. But as far as my assertion to the board is, there's no action required in that this is actually in a higher jurisdiction and a permit has already been issued for the repair of the property. That said, I'll rest.
Okay, then we have
Yes.
no authority in this now?
I agree with everything Mr. Rybakowski said, except that the actual date is December 15th for the hearing instead of the 14th. But he recited exactly what's going on with regard to the property. So we greatly appreciate his setting forth that and us having some conversation prior to this hearing.
I would have just been 24 hours early for the hearing.
That's all.
Yeah, okay, good. That was an easy one.
Mr. Chair, then I would, is because this is under pending litigation, that we just kind of put this one on hold and continue it. And
Continue
then
it?
we can, yeah, let's continue it to see how the litigation works out. And then if there's, it can be withdrawn or dismissed, if
Okay.
there's no need for further adjudication by the board.
That's fine. Okay, we'll continue it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, good luck, everybody.
Will my client get notice of the continued hearing then?
Deb?
Yes.
Oh.
So
Yes.
if it continues, it has to come back to the Board of Building Standards, then you will receive an email with a notice.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
I'll
Mr.
include you on that as well.
All right. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Okay, good luck, guys.
Thank
you. Thank you.
Okay,
I'll sign off now. Okay. Thank you.
all right now.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Have a nice flight.
Thanks.
With that said, that's it for me. Enjoy the weekend.
You too, Tom. Have a good one, pal.
Have a good one.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Tom.
Tom. Sorry I didn't let you go first on that first case.
All good.
They kept talking, but anyway.
Okay, good job.
Do we want to pause the recording at this point or continue on?
Let's pause because technically our hearing.
Want to get started on? Okay, good.
So,
Who's here from the Patco Concourse?
I'll call you while we're on our way, just so you know.
Tom
Okay.
McDade. Tom McDade,
Who?
Tom McDade, Deputy Chief of Staff from the Department of Public Property, representing the city.
Okay, who's from, so you represent the city and we have to deal with you over an issue, right?
That's right, Mr. Miller.
All right, Tom, no problem. Okay, I'm Wayne Miller, board member.
Amy Rivera, board member.
Ed August, board member.
John Dimes, Fire Code.
Deborah Richardson, Boards Administration.
Philip Motto, Boards Administration.
Jay Scoria, Department of License and Inspections.
Okay. Tom, can you raise your right hand, swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth?
I do indeed.
Okay, all right, Phil, can you read that into the record?
Yes, sir. This is item number 3 on today's list. MI 2023-006-671 for the Patco Concourse located at 12th through 13th Street and 15th through 16th Street and Locust. The appellant is Thomas McDade III. He's present in the room.
Okay, Tom, want to tell us a story?
Certainly will. So good afternoon, board members. I am Thomas McDade, MCDADE, Deputy Chief of Staff for the Department of Public Property. I'm here on this application representing the city as owner of the Locust Street Concourse. With me here today is Mr. John Rink, General Manager from Patco, and members of Burns Engineering who performed the egress study in the concourse. The city is responsible for the maintenance of the Locust Street Concourse between 12th Street and 16th Street at Locust. This is the concourse that sits immediately above the Patco lines and where passengers access those trains. There are existing gates on the stairwells at the northwest and southwest corners of Juniper Street and the northeast and southeast corners of 15th Street. There are also fences with gates east of Juniper in the concourse and between the east and west exits at 15th Street in the concourse. We are asking the board to allow us to permanently lock these 6 locations. We believe the study from Burns Engineering has provided the information to allow the city to make this decision knowing that it will not compromise the safety of the folks using the concourse. So that's what I got. And I have, so obviously we worked with the boards to share the issues on the refusal. And we've asked Burns Engineering to come here to answer your questions specific to those refusal questions.
Okay, who's with Burns Engineering?
Good afternoon. My name is Erica Antone. I'm the project manager at Burns Engineering.
Okay, all right, could you hold on 1 second? Can I
Yes.
swear you in first?
Yes.
Want to tell the truth, all truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Great. So I am going to turn over the responses to the questions to Mr. Jim Bush, who performed the egress analysis.
Okay, hey, Jim,
Hello,
did you raise your right hand, swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, is there anyone else on this case that's going to be testifying? Okay,
No.
That's okay. Continue. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No one else will be testifying.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, Mr. Miller, if we can have, hey, John, why don't you get sworn in as well in case we have to call on you just to talk about some of the conditions down there.
All right, John, raise your right hand, swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay. All right, Tom, go ahead.
So if you have specific questions related, do you want us to just go through our responses to the refusal?
Yeah, is there
questions we have?
anybody opposed to this?
No.
Well, they have, it needs a variance, so.
Besides the refusal from
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, like anybody's in the neighborhood say, yeah, I have to come up that stairway or whatever. Okay,
But I will say that we were not given the Burns Engineering report, so we don't know what was in it, so a brief synopsis would be helpful.
Hey, Jim, Jim, do you have the refusal?
I do have the refusal.
You want to read those things that were stated by Ellen and I, and then our
Certainly.
response?
We have the
There-
refusal, we just don't have the report.
Yeah.
Well, the report's,
Burns
the report is 20 odd pages. I don't think we have time to go through the whole report. However, the high level of the report is we did an analysis based on NFPA 130, which is specific to transit stations. And that's not that's not acknowledged by the city of Philadelphia as a accepted code. So we revised the report to follow IBC 2018, which does not specifically have transit elements in it. So there is a bit of a disconnect between what's existing conditions and have been existing conditions and following IBC 2018 for new construction. So we have a refusal letter based on egress capacity and common path of travel, number of exits, and I think that's about it if I'm missing anything else on the refusal letter. But our report finds that the existing conditions in our closure of a couple of stairs is still in compliance with NFPA 130 for people egressing from the platform area up through the concourse and to grade. And our adapted review based on IBC 2018 also has sufficient capacity for egress and number of stairs. We have not been able to address the existing condition of common path of travel, which we are not impacting by our work. It's an existing condition that we're not improving or making any worse. And the travel distance, we're not impacting that either. So that's a nutshell of the report.
Sorry, is there a plan you can share that would just sort of give us a sense of
Let me try sharing my screen.
physical?
Yeah. Let's see. All right. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we're looking at the 1213 plans. These are two existing closed stairs. And we're proposing to close this area over here with these stairs at 1213. There are no additional stairs from the platform level up that we're closing. And this existing common path of travel condition, which exceeds the common path of travel of 75 feet, is an existing condition currently. And we're not creating a new condition for common path of travel. So I'm not sure how to break this down because there's two different stations and there's multiple issues. We can scroll to 15th and 16th station, which we are closing these two stairs, and it would appear that we are creating a new common path of travel issue here by closing these stairs from the platform level. And I would direct the board's attention to this existing condition for a common path of travel that exceeds 75 foot on this portion of the platform that's existing. So we're not creating anything greater than what's already existing for common path of travel.
And this is the concourse, and how far do they go up to the street level?
So here's the concourse, and the street level access is through these four stairs here that we're maintaining, and we're closing these two stairs here. This is at 15th and 16th.
To clarify that a little, the platform is down where the trains are, and there's an intermediate level right below grade that we refer to as the concourse, and then
I'm
above
sorry.
that is street level.
Thank you,
So,
Erica.
when you see two plans on this one sheet, it's the same station on one on top of the other.
Does this hinder any like handicap access or ADA access?
It does not, because there are elevators that will still be accessible from everyone coming up to that level. So the gates are on the other side.
Okay.
And so what we're trying to do is limit the footprint by locking these essentially four stairwells and two gates on the fences to reduce that footprint that the unsheltered population has been using for essentially the last couple years. The police department, all three police departments being SEPTA, PATCO, and the Philadelphia Police Department don't have the resources to continually send people down there to address some of the issues that they've had. Obviously, we have people living down there. If you went down there right now, there are people living down there. There are no restrooms, and there's been issues with violent crime, and we're just trying to reduce that footprint so that only folks needing to use the services provided by PATCO would be able to come in, get down, whether by elevator or through the escalator, and get down to use those services and back. So it would also help the police department by not having large swaths of area to have to police.
Is it safe to say that when this is done, it will be impossible for somebody to get into those areas that you're closing off. I mean, it's not, you're not simply making it difficult, but it will truly be impossible.
Mr. Agus, I've been with the city a long time, so impossible, I would never use that term.
Okay.
But it's going to be extremely difficult for them to get in there.
Got it.
If I can add to Tom's comments, what they're doing is they're using the emergency crash bars. They found a way to open the crash bars, open the doors, prop them open, disable them in order to get into those areas. So it's a constant, even if the city moves them out and closes the back in there in a few hours.
So am I correct in saying that the travel distance haven't changed from what currently exists?
Correct. Correct.
So they were technically always in, not correct. It looks like it's drastically changed.
So the egress capacity is 2 stairs less in each station. And in the denial letter, what we're identifying in the stairways, there's, I think the calculation of the occupant load is in question based on the denial letter. And we feel, well, we're looking for some clarity because it seems as though there's a combination between the NFPA 130 and the IBC in the calculation of the occupant load. We're using the platform area only as the occupant load, not the concourse area, as that's, it's part of the corridor space, essentially. If it were a building, it's not really occupiable space. And our calculations for the platform are different. I'm not really sure what the areas are that are prompting this requirement, but it looks like from my rough numbers, it's about 13,000 square foot size platform. And our calculation is about half of that at around 7,000 square foot.
Is that after it was closed off? Because I know a lot of the occupants is based on worst case condition. I know when Matthew Wojcik was reviewing it, he discussed it amongst us supervisors, and we thought of the worst case scenario of a full train and a full platform at the same time. And if there was an emergency event, that's kind of how we concluded what the occupant load would be. So if we had a full train would be, I think, 1,140 occupants with a full platform. And that's, I think that's 2,649 occupants, right?
Yep.
That's
Well,
how we calculate it.
that's the number that I have here based on what your stair ask is. And that's taking a calculation that's not really stipulated in the International Building Code for egress. And it's taking part of that and taking part of the NFPA 130 using the car loads, which I can appreciate in terms of conservative numbers. However, it's kind of hard for us to plan for that when it's not stipulated anywhere.
Understood.
So we've proven that it's compliant from NFPA 130, and we've proven that it's compliant through IBC 2018, based on calculating the occupant load on the platform. So if it's something that's a combination between the two, I'm not sure that we were prepared to play that game.
Well, does anyone have a problem?
This all comes down to the stair width, correct?
And the stair width is, we're providing, let's go back to our report. So our occupant tabulation based on, let's go to the 1516 station. The platform, we have about 650 occupants on the platform, waiting on the platform, based on the square footage following IBC 2018. And we have a couple of enclosed areas that are not part of the, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name. It's on the concourse level. It's just a transient space. It's not occupiable space. So we have about 3 occupants based on I think there's a police box up there and some toilets, private, and we get 656 occupants for that, and based on that egress capacity requirement, we have 376 inches of width is provided, and we have a capacity of 1,253 occupants in the existing condition, and the proposed condition is slightly less because we've closed those 2 stairs at 280 inches and 933 occupants that can be accommodated in the 15-16 station. So that still exceeds the occupant load that we have of 656.
Yeah, I mean, one minor question there. I mean, stair 5 I see is, you know, much wider stair than any of the others that's being, you know, taken away. Is there any requirement for a large stair in any, you know, given station that is going away by virtue of what's being done here?
Hey, Jim, real quick on that, I believe if you could pull that drawing up, that stair down that you show is closed has always been closed. There's
I beg your pardon. Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, yeah, that stair is not currently open. It comes up into that closed area, but we've never have used that since we were created in '69. It's been permanently closed.
So the difference between existing and proposed is not as great as what that table shows, actually. Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, none of the stairways leading from the platform up to the concourse will be closed as part of proposal. We'll still have the 4 stairwells that we currently have open.
Right, just to clarify, this is from the concourse. These 6 locations we're looking to close are from the concourse up to the street level, or I should say 4 of them are the stairways from the concourse to the street level, and then the 2 fences restricting access to the bigger space with those gates, which are in the concourse.
We're gonna caucus. Ted, Amy?
Yeah, I think we're ready.
Sure, and just John Dimes, I mean, any you know, comments, reactions that you have?
Well, we do this with dignitary. We're not in the plans review portion, obviously, when these things are getting stamped, but there's times where we're involved in things like this. So the things we look for is what the gentleman just went over. You know, do they have the right number of X's for the amount of people? And that's based on, you know, there's a table in the code. Also the door width, which is went over, and then the remoteness, right? Or that you can't stick one large door in one area and have everybody goes to that. So based on that, if they have the number of exits or exit stairs that are needed, and it meets the egress width, then I don't see a problem with it.
Thanks.
Okay. All right.
Okay, we'll
We're gonna go caucus, so you can stop the recording.
Put us in a breakout.
Yeah. Amy, do we want to have them show that chart again, or should we just ask the question?
I think we just asked the question.
Yeah.
We were waiting to come back in.
Yeah, is he still AWOL? There he is.
Wait a second. There we go. Okay, does what you're proposing meet the NFPA standard?
Yes.
Does it meet using whose occupancy numbers, L&I's or just what the platform can hold?
So the NFPA report meets the NFPA requirements with the maximum train loads and the pulsing of traffic through using the NFPA standards. And the IBC report uses only the IBC numbers, and it also meets the requirements for the IBC based on us calculating the platform as the occupant load, not including train car, only the platform.
Is that the IBC?
That's the IBC, the
Now,
NFPA.
what does the NFPA meet? Does he make the train and the platform?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. But they
If
come up.
if that's the case, if the train and the platform under the NFPA works, okay, then we'll grant the variance.
Well, we'll recommend the
Right.
variance to the commissioner that still has.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, I think that, yeah, I mean, Amy, Wayne, I think that's kind of where we landed. We're comfortable with it, with that understanding.
Hey, fellas, this is Lieutenant Dimes. I got one more question. You mind?
Yeah, go ahead, Dodge.
Real quick, do those two stair towers, we're calling them, they're not towers, it's not a high rise, but those two stairways, do they have any type of fire protection equipment in there? Is there any type of standpipe or hose connection to fight a fire in those things that aren't in the other stairs by any chance?
I'm afraid I don't know the answer to that question.
I could answer that, Jim. In the PACO spaces of the concourse and the platform, we have a dry standpipe system. But there's not currently one in those stairwells per se. But inside our concourse area, inside the fair gates, we do have a dry standpipe system that goes to street level, so that the fire department would tie in up above ground.
Okay, thank you.
But John, is it, John Rank, is there anything that's part of the life safety systems that would be impacted by shutting off those areas, or that might have to be relocated as part of the work you're doing?
There is not.
Okay, thanks.
All right. We good?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Ted?
Yes.
Okay, send it to the commissioner. All right, guys, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okie dokie. Oh.
Hey Debbie, do you know if Pete DeLisi is in the waiting room?
Yes, he's here.
Okay, perfect.
All right, 2901 Hunting Park is next.
What's that, Aim?
2901 Hunting Park is next.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everybody here from 2901 Hunting Park?
The person I don't see is Janice.
Where's she at? Janice, you there?
He's not.
Here, you can ask him.
So we're waiting. Is anyone else there from Hunting
Yes.
Park Avenue?
George is here.
I'm here. I don't see anyone else from the owner's side or Janice in the room.
All right, we'll have
so-
to wait.
Okay.
Okay?
Can we skip to the next one?
Yeah, well, look at it. On Route Street? Is anybody here from on Route Street?
Hi, good afternoon. This is Carrie Nace.
Harry?
Yes, here we go.
Is anybody else with you?
Oh, I have a whole
Yes.
group with me. Yes. We
Ed
have,
Gore.
yep.
What is it?
This is Ed Gore from
Hey,
Devon
Ed.
Self-Storage.
Okay. Who's gonna testify here? Ed, you gonna testify? Okay. Kari, you gonna testify?
I am
Anybody else gonna testify? Tell me your names.
Ramton.
Ramton?
Sanikatan, yes.
Okay, Ram, who else?
Charlotte Navrant.
Who?
Charlotte Navrant. Oh,
Hey, Charlotte, how you doing?
good. How are you?
Okay, good. Is that it?
And for us, it might be Jeffrey Tan. I think he's on, right? Jeff, you're on, right?
Jeffrey in there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, here we go. We're gonna,
He's with the
is
city.
anyone a lawyer?
I am the lawyer, Carrie Nace.
All right, we don't have to swear you in, because I know you tell the truth all the time. All right? That's right, exactly. All right, here we're gonna start. We're gonna start with Ed. Ed, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the right hand, not the other right hand.
How about both hands?
There you go. That's good. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do, yes.
I got you. Hey, Ram, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Respond. You're on mute.
I do.
All right, got it. Who else? Kay or Carly? Carly, right?
Charlotte.
Oh, Charlotte. Okay. Charlotte, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay. Anyone else? Did I miss anybody?
We have sure.
Sorry,
so-
Jeffrey Tan.
Hey, Jeff. Jeff, raise your right hand. The other right hand. That's it. Good. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Okay. Is that it?
We do have our civil engineer in case there's any questions. I don't know if you want
Where's he
to.
at?
Matt Witters.
Yo, Matt, you there? Matt, that's it. The other right hand. Raise your hand. Swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth. Okay?
I do.
Okay. My name's Wayne Miller, board member.
Amy Rivera, board member.
Ted Agus, board member.
John Diamonds, Fire Code.
Richardson, Boards Administration.
Philip Motto, Boards Administration.
Jay Scoria, Department of License Inspections.
Okay, that's it. Phil, read it into the record.
Yes, sir. This is case number 4 on today's list. MI 2023-005-603 for the property located at 2901 Hunting Park Avenue. The appellant is George.
No, we're
Swisher.
doing the next case.
No, we're
I'm
doing
sorry.
en route.
I'm sorry, forgive me. Case number 5 on today's list, MI 2023-006-692 for the property located at 5200 Unruh Street, Unruh Avenue. Carrie B. Nace is the appellant. She's present in the room.
Whoever's going to present the case, please go ahead.
Okay, I am going to start and then I'll call on my consultants here. I'm going to share my screen just so you have a copy of the existing features plan and can see the property that we're talking about.
Right.
Here we go. You can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Fantastic, great. So this property is located at 5200 Unruh Avenue. It's adjacent to Delaware River. It's located in the I-1 zoning district, currently improved with 2 buildings. This here is, following my cursor, is Building A, which we are going to discuss this afternoon. Also, there is a small building over in this section, which is Building B. A portion of the property is located within the floodplain portion of Building A. Building B is not located within the floodplain, so all discussion will relate only to Building A. We have received a zoning permit from Department of License Inspections to convert Building A into a self-storage facility. Portion of Building B is intended to be demolished, with the remaining portion to be converted into self-storage, as well as the office that will service the self-storage facility. just, let me see. Here's a copy of the zoning plan that was approved by L&I. You can see Building A will remain as is with interior improvements as well as some exterior improvements. There was a flood protection scoping meeting back in June of 2023. As a result of that meeting, it was determined that the improvements would be considered substantial improvements, which would require dry flood proofing to occur within the basement of the building. However, we do not believe that the improvements that are being proposed would be considered substantial improvements due to the incorrect market value that is determined by the OPA. We did file an application with this board appealing the current market value that's listed on the OPA's site. In the alternative, if the board does not agree with our decision in terms of the market value, we did request a variance to the requirement for the dry flood proofing within the basement of Building A. So looking at the market value, currently the OPA has the market value for the entire property listed as $3,151,200. The land area is assessed at $630,240. The improvements are listed at $2,520,960. When you break out the percentage, the improvements have 80% of the market value. Last December 5th, the owner and applicant of this project did purchase the property for a value of $7 million, which obviously represents a much higher market value than what the OPA has listed. Due to that, we did have an appraisal that was completed in connection with this appeal, which we have submitted with our, let me see here, here we go. It was prepared by CBRE, Mr. John Lynch, who is a certified appraiser. His credentials are included within that appraisal. He's been performing this type of work for over 40 years within this area. We submitted a copy of the appraisal with our application. Based on his investigation, he has determined that the property has a market value of $7,500,000. He has determined that the property has increased in value due to the approvals that were received, as well as additional improvements that have been made to the facade of the building. As a result, using the same 80% percentage to determine the amount, the assessed value of the improvements only, not the land, that would come out to $6 million. However, since there are two buildings on the property, we followed the guidance in the bulletin and determined the market value per square foot of both buildings. The total building area of the property is 131,960 square feet. That comes out to approximately $45.46 per square foot. The subject property, or the subject building, I'm sorry, Building A, is approximately 128,140 square feet. So we were able to determine that the market value would be $5,825,244. We are anticipating that the total the project cost, the value, again, following the items that are set forth in the bulletin, would be approximately $2,558,346. In order to be considered a substantial improvement, it would be 50% or more of the market value of the improvement that is being renovated. 50% of the $5,000,008 value that I referenced would end up being $2,912,622. So we expect that the cost of the improvements would be less than the 50%, and as such, it would not be considered a substantial improvement that would require the dry flood proofing. I am gonna stop there for a minute because that relates only to the market value of the property and see if there's any questions with respect to the market value or with regard to our appeal in terms of the market value compared to what the OPA has listed on their site.
Hi, Carrie, sorry, I had a couple question. Was this appraisal report presented at the floodplain meeting?
It was not.
Okay.
Another question, if, does the appraisal, I think you cited using the square foot value kind of assigned kind of to the two buildings. Is there a different calculation in terms of in the appraisal of one building versus the other? That would come to a different conclusion?
No, they come up with just a total value. I will, I'm gonna scroll through here. This was on, again, submitted. So I'll come here. So they just have a total value of the 7,500,000. And then looking at the bulletin that is provided by Board of Building Standards, it indicates that when you have more than one building on the property, you're to determine a per square foot for all improvement area, which is the calculation that we performed using that 75.
Okay, so that is an LNI directive, so that, okay.
Right, so we first took the 7.5 and it used 80% for improvements with the 20% of land value. And then we took that 80% number and divided it amongst the square footage of both buildings per that bulletin. Do you want me to proceed? Any other questions on the market value?
No.
Okay. So if the board does not agree in terms of the market value and determines that it is in fact consider substantial improvements and would require the dry flood proofing, as I indicated, we are seeking a variance to requiring dry flood proofing for this property for building A. Just bring this back a minute. Here's our
So, Jace, what did you guys come up with?
So, I'm sorry?
I'm talking to Jace. What did you guys come up with?
So for, from the flood scoping meeting, I know Jeff attended that one. The new assessed value wasn't presented, so based on the existing numbers, they were considered substantial improvement. But now I know Jeff is on Zoom right now, but based on these new numbers, they wouldn't. I'm not sure how the new evaluation would affect, but based on this wouldn't be considered substantial improvement anymore, right, Jeff?
Sorry.
Yo, Jeff.
Yes, I'm here. So based on the numbers that they were providing, it seems like if we were to accept this valuation, it wouldn't trigger substantial improvement. In fact, I think the 20% that they evaluate for land value is actually an over-evaluation of the land, because you haven't done any site improvements to the land, have you?
I would ask Ed, could you address that, please?
We have not. We eventually will be adding parking stalls and a ramp to access the building, but other than that, and a fence, but other than that, minimal improvements.
Yeah, so I don't expect the OPA to increase the land value based on what they already have. It would just be about whatever the market value is. I guess the only other thing is I don't know if the OPA has the appraisal been accepted by the OPA for re-recording the market value.
They have not. This is separate and aside from the OPA. So it's just simply an appeal to the market value under these particular guidelines.
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be up to the board to see if they would be able to accept the appraisal value that is being presented in that case.
The other question I had, that new site improvement with the parking, was that included with the new evaluation?
In the 7.5,
Yep.
it was not, because those improvements have not yet been made. So it was based on current as is condition of the property.
Okay.
So the appraisal was completed in September
On the
of
existing.
2023.
Okay.
So that, yeah, so the 7.5 is based on the condition of the property as of September 2023.
Understood.
And how much you say this dry flood proofing would cost?
We did not get into that. What I had referenced was the value of the improvements in terms of redeveloping it for self-storage, making the interior renovations, and that was the 2.5 million.
And is that just for building A?
Yes, I believe, Ed, that was just building A, correct?
Correct.
Correct. Everything relates only to building A, since that's the building subject to the application.
Oh, I guess there was another question. Did the appraisal also include building B? I don't know if building B's been demolished yet.
Correct. So the 7.5 is for, sorry, let me just,
Includes both buildings.
sorry here,
Oh, there's a total of 3 buildings on the site, right?
2 buildings.
Oh, I didn't know if there was a building C. Sorry.
No, that's not included on this.
Got it.
So what's in front of you on this screen, so the total value of the 7.5 does take into account both buildings, 2 buildings. And then, as I indicated, we took the when we applied the 80%, that comes to 6 million. So we divided the 6 million by the total square footage of 131,960 and came up with the per square foot value and applied that to building A only.
Okay, I see 45, 46. Jeffrey, what do you think?
I think if what's it called, if we're able to accept the appraisal, then it would we can push it forward as not determining substantial improvement. I guess there's a number of other factors as you know, what the appraiser compared this property to. I think there's a map of the other properties that the appraiser used to compare it to, right, in this report.
Yes, let me look here so that I'm not. Let me just get the page here so I'm not scrolling for you.
Sure.
That looks like page 5.
Hey, Jeffrey, why wouldn't you accept the appraisal?
It just depends on whether or not you think that the different sites that was compared to is a direct comparison, like if it's apples to apples or oranges to oranges, you know, or if there's other things that are not taken into consideration, like the proximity of this particular site to the special flood hazard area. I don't know if that was part of the appraisal report. I didn't see that in there. And I think if I guess the only other site, I don't know if site number 5 is in the special flood hazard area. I can see is it's like kind of close to the Wissahickon Creek watershed. But I don't, and I think the only other thing the report does identify that that there's a volatility associated with the report. So those are other factors to take into consideration.
I'm sorry, what was the last part? That
I think there was probably a caveat in the report that indicated like there's some volatility that needs to be taken into account in terms of like inflation. And I guess it's just up to the board to like understand that and whether that adds up to the value that is being shown by the appraiser.
Right. And so, and you know, I would just add, when you do look at the other properties, you can see obviously the price per square foot, particularly number 5 you pointed out, is, you know, greater than what we're showing our area per square foot. And I think the appraisal is certainly takes into account the fair market value that was, or the price that was paid for the property, and then added, you know, a percentage based on the approvals that have been obtained, as I indicated, as well as improvements that have been made to date on the building itself.
So Jeffrey, you would need to know this prior before you can make an informed decision to tell us?
I mean, I'm not telling you. I guess, you know, the safest way would be if OPA can do their own evaluation and accept the new appraised value, then we probably wouldn't have to go through the board. But if I guess the appellants are choosing to go through the board option to accept this value instead of the OPA value.
Well, and to that point, if I may, and one reason is when we look at the bulletin with respect to appealing the market value to this board, it does set forth different criteria in terms of what the appraisal should look like and the approach that it does take. And so we followed that, since this was, you know, for these purposes with the board.
Ted, Amy, you want to caucus?
Yes, please.
Okay. Give us a minute.
Okay.
Okay, we're not comfortable enough to make a decision on appraisals. And again, you have Jeffrey sitting here. If you want to take it back to now that you have your appraisal to the flood committee, that's what we're recommending. Or if you want to go for the other alternative of if we make a decision on the dry proofing, I don't know what you want to do, but we're not comfortable with that.
If you wanted to hold off and go back to that committee, we can continue the case until you've had that, you know, hearing.
And I'm sorry, just to confirm, the committee, the flood proofing committee, where we had the scoping meeting?
Where Jeffrey is that if they agree to the appraisal, then it's a moot case. And evidently you mustn't have had the appraisal when you went to the flood committee. Am I right, Jeffrey?
I am not sure if that lines up. I think we said that it should be sent back to Office of Property Assessment if they think that the Office of Property Assessment value is incorrect. If not, then it has to come to the board to make the appeal. So right now it sounds like the Board of Billing Standards is not comfortable with using
We're
this
not comfortable
report.
with making a determination on the appraisal. We don't have any idea of that.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's fine. If I may have a, I'd like to speak with my client for 2 minutes to see how they want to proceed. If I can just put on pause for a moment and give him a call here offline.
I think Carrie, also I think me and Jeff, we looked into the OPA portion of it. I think you missed the deadline because it has to be done before September, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I think the first I was looking at the website and I'll send you in the chat that the OPA website has like a first level review. That you could submit for a first level review for like reassessment on like September of a calendar year.
Sure, that's if you,
Yeah.
that's if you're appealing the assessment that they
Right.
have. This is, again, you have your OPA assessment, which I understand, but then when you go under your own flood-proof special hazard district and your own flood proofing requirements, and that's, on the flood protection form, the variance there, which is under section D1, right? So you appeal your assessed value there. So this was a separate appeal on the market value just to the Board of Building Standards based on the flood protection variance form that we submitted. It was, we weren't appealing it necessarily with the OPA. It was really just under the variance form that we have. So if I can take just 2 minutes, let me speak with Mr. Gore in terms of how we want to move forward.
Absolutely.
Okay, I will just come right back online. One moment,
Sure,
please.
no problem, no problem. Look what you got them.
Appreciate your time.
Ah, that's all right. Yeah.
So we have a couple different items I would like to talk to. If you are not comfortable accepting the appraisal, would you accept the purchase price of the 7 million?
Could you hold on a minute? I want to make sure everybody's back in the room.
Sure, I'm sorry.
Okay?
Yep.
Amy, Ted, okay?
Here.
All right, okay, we're back. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sure. So my question is if you were uncomfortable accepting the 7.5 that's in the appraisal, if you would accept the purchase price of 7 million, which is reflective on public records and also on the OPA's website as the purchase price that was paid last year as the market value.
And what would that do? Would that still give you the ability to be able to do the
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Based on my calculations, and if we're at the 2.5 million in terms of the improvements, we should still be under the 50%.
One very naive question. Has there been anything done since the purchase that has devalued the property or anything removed?
No, in fact, the property has been improved because we have done some facade work for maintenance.
Okay, thanks.
And while you're contemplating that, if I could ask when your next meeting is, if we did ask to table, when would the next scheduled hearing be?
2 weeks, I believe. Deb, are you there?
December 21st.
December 21st, okay.
Yes. December 21st.
All right. All right.
Amy, Wayne, we want to step away for a second?
Yes, yes. Yep.
We will return.
What we're looking at with what you paid for the property, we still have some concerns, and we don't know a whole lot about what we're looking at right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue it to the 21st, and but in the meantime, if you go back to Jeffrey's committee, if you want, that's fine. If not, on the 21st, we'll make a decision on whether to grant a variance or whatever we're going to have to do. So that's where we're at right now.
And if we don't make a decision based on the appraisal or the sales price, we'll hear the case on the sort of technical merits of the dry proofing.
Correct.
Okay. The one
Okay.
question, I'm sorry, yes, in terms of the dry flood proofing, since we do have consultants here, do you want us to move forward with our case today so that, and then hold the decision? Or, because we are prepared to present that testimony if you'd like us to proceed with that.
We'd rather hold off on that until the 21st.
Okay,
A lot on the calendar and gives us a chance to evaluate the other, options.
Yes.
okay,
Okay, all right, guys, and we'll see you on the 21st.
all right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
I don't see Janet on the screen there.
Mr. Swisher,
Yes,
is your party ready to proceed or are they still waiting for someone?
I do not know their whereabouts. I'm sorry for wasting your time.
Not at all. Would that mean you're not prepared at this point to go forward?
I would say so, unless you're just willing to hear from me. I don't know if there's a quorum required on the owner's behalf or not.
No, not at all.
No, I
Not at
believe
all.
we were waiting for information though. From you guys. And then
Yes,
that's when-
yes, I can fill you in on where we are since we last met in November. So we were tasked to go back.
All right,
Oh,
let's
oh,
take the case in.
Swear me in.
Okay, well, we gotta get the case in, okay?
Yep.
You're gonna be the only one testifying. Could you please raise your right hand, swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, I'm Wayne Miller, board member.
Amy Rivera, board member.
Ted August, board member.
John Dimes, Fire Code.
Deborah Richardson, Boards Administration.
Philip Motto, Boards Administration.
Jay Scoria, Department of License Inspections.
Okay,
And it was Pete here. Pete, just get yourself off mute.
Pete, you're on mute. Okay, Pete, who are you with?
Inspections,
Oh, but, okay. Are you gonna be testifying in this case?
if needed.
Okay, all right. Pete, could you raise your right hand, swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, also, I swore you in, so, Bill, can you put that in the record?
Yes, sir. This is case number 4 on today's list. MI 2023-005-603 for the property located at 2901 Hunting Park Avenue. The appellant is Mr. George Swisher. He's present in the room today.
Okay, so when we last
Okay,
met,
go ahead.
we were tasked with the analysis of going back and looking at the viability for providing on-site power to back up the fire pump. And there were 2 options that we considered. One was a diesel fire pump. The second was an on-site emergency generator that would be dedicated to the existing electrical fire pump that's been installed. We developed designs to the point where we could get an order of magnitude cost estimate, and the owner was able to evaluate the costs along with their preferences and the impact on their program. And the decision was made to provide an on-site emergency generator to back up the existing electrical fire pump. So the intent is to locate that generator outside of the building at a location away from the main switchgear that's in the back of the building. We'll run a feeder into the building, MI, once it's in the building, to get to the fire pump room. So we'll have redundant power sources. We'll have sufficiently diverse feeders such that outside of the fire pump room, the electrical supply system is essentially single failure proof. Once we get into the fire pump room, the 2 sources will connect to a fire pump rated transfer switch and then be wired to the existing fire pump controller. So if that's amenable to the board, knowing now that we're essentially single failure proof outside of the fire pump room, we would like to request a variance for the connection to the main switchgear in the back of the building.
Bill, Pete, what do you think on that?
Considering leaving it there and having emergency power, which would be a nice fail safe, it would be a slight variance, but I would be in favor of it.
Okay. Ted or Amy, do you have any more questions to that?
No, John Dimes
Dimes?
could chime in.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Sounds right.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Ted, you good with it? Amy, you good with it?
Yes,
Yes.
but what is the slight variance that is needed so we can document that?
The service connection is still not ahead of the main service disconnect, but now that you have emergency power, which it would pick up immediately, and that would be, George, you would have to make sure that the automatic transfer switches are emergency, not standby.
Yes. And Peter, what I intend to do is we'll revise the drawings to show the addition of the generator, revise the single line, and resubmit that to you for review.
Right, and when you get an emergency power, you have to do a lot of analysis and coordination with Pico to get it to pick up.
Okay.
Good with that, George?
Yeah, I have not gone through that process before, but I'll find out.
Okay. Okay.
Great.
Is that it?
Yeah, that would be something I would ask for on the review though, if you had that coordination done.
Okay. Peter, is that a coordination study?
Coordination study, yes, because you have to have, make sure the sine waves pick up and like you say, it's immediate.
Okay. All right, understood.
Okay, all right, George?
All right,
Good.
very good. Thank you,
All right,
everyone.
guys. All right, thank you. Thanks, Pete.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Pete.
it.
Have a
All
good
right.
one.
Good. That's how you do it. That was quick. Nice one. All right,
Yeah, I wonder whether Janet was never intending to be there.
that's okay. That's okay. Janet talks. She can talk. A man of a few words, George is. Okay.
All right, next case.
Let's
Next
get to the
item,
next case.
the next item on the calendar would have been case number 6, MI 2023-006-008 for 6761 Geyer Avenue. The appellant in that case has asked for a continuance, so we've continued that till 1/11. But that brings us to the final matter on the case, or the final matter of today's list. That's 1650 Market Street.
Okay.
Ms. Sullivan?
Hello.
Hello, is everyone here and prepared for you today, or
Yes.
Mr. Miller, they seem to be ready? You want me to read it into
How
the
many people are with you, Miss Sullivan?
Just one, Stephen Ferret, my colleague.
Okay, are both of you going to testify?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, all right. So Miss Sullivan, we'll start with you. Could you please raise your right hand? Swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Stephen, could you please raise your right hand? Swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, I'm Wayne Miller, board member.
Amy Rivera, board member.
Sorry, Ted Agus, board member.
John Dimes, fire code.
Deborah Richardson, Boards Administration.
Philip Motto, Boards Administration.
Jay Scurria, Department of License Inspections.
Okay, Phil, could you read that into the record, please?
Yes, sir. This is case 7 on today's list, MI 2023-006-689 for the property located at 1650 Market Street, floor number 38. The appellant is Laura Sullivan, and she's present in the room.
Okay, whoever's going to present the case, go ahead.
Sure. My name is Laura Sullivan. I'm an architect with Gensler. I represent the client, Glenn Mead at 1650 Market Street. They're currently in the process of renovating 3 floors in the building for their new space. we are seeking a variance for a 3-level stair in the building. It's a new interconnecting stair that is not being used for egress. So it's a convenience stair. Let me share my screen real quick. Okay. So on the lowest level, so the 3 floors that are being
We're not seeing your
renovated.
screen.
We're not seeing
Oh,
your,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, let me,
There you go.
there, okay. So the 3 floors that are being renovated are 38, 39, and 40. The stair starts on 38, and it's in the east portion of the building, right, as you see right here. I'm just going to give a little context before I get to the diagrams. And then on 39, the stair continues up, and then at level 40, the stair lands finally at this location, and we have a kind of a large opening in the slab at this location. We're seeking a variance because the stair dips, sorry, the fire compartment that we understand it for level 39 and 40 dips below level 39 minimally, and the stair from 38 to 39 is enclosed in a 2-hour rated construction. So at the lowest level, you see the 2-hour rated construction here and here, and then actually this would go up to the slab. But the upper fire compartment is 39 and 40. The volume of space that dips below level 39 is roughly 1% of the design volume of the space. So we're seeking a variance to provide, the code says that the requirement would be providing a rated enclosure at the floor of 39, a horizontal rated enclosure. So we're seeking a variance for the construction of a vertical enclosure that encloses the run from 38 to 39. That volume is roughly 1% of the total volume of the space from 38 to 39.
Yeah, read part of it. I gotta go.
Tell
That's
us
located here.
level 38 in plan. Sorry. Oh, okay.
So
Great.
yep, so 38 in plan, you can see the 2-hour rated enclosure around the entire stair with a rated door on hold opens that's tied to the fire alarm system. Then at 39, the stair is open to above, and you can see the floor opening at level 40 here.
Please.
Let me know if anyone needs to see additional drawings or has any questions.
Anyone have any questions?
I think I more have questions from L&I, because the refusal says each vertical opening shall comply in accordance with one of the protection methods in section 712-1.1 through 712.1.16. With the proposed new 3-story communicating stairway doesn't comply any of the protection methods in those sections, resulting in a non-compliant condition.
If this was just limited to 2 stories, I think it would have been okay, but because the opening to the 3rd story, that's the issue. They're not allowed to have that opening at all. That's why they put that vertical compartment there, like you said, but it just strictly doesn't comply. If it was 2, then it would have been okay, but because it's the 3rd, it's because it technically connects more than 2 stories, that's what causes the issue. But I could reference the code section for that if you'd like.
And
No,
Chase,
that's okay.
yeah, Chase, do you think it, I mean, in terms of meeting the spirit or the intent of the code, do you think it does that by creating that, by closing that off at the lower level?
Unfortunately, we take things as black and white at the code because you make that opening and that floor ceiling assembly. Just because it connects more than 2 stories, it can't meet any of the other requirements. That's kind of what the issue is. Are you providing a smoke control system?
No, we're trying to avoid that because it's not really possible within the building.
So,
Getting the
basically
shaft space for that.
Yeah, if the examiner included all the code sections, the refusal would have been at least 10 pages. So let's, I think the major items are the 2-story openings, not providing smoke control, how everything's being regulated. If there was to be a fire in any of those locations, it will just migrate throughout the whole, all 3 floors besides the bottom one.
Is there any partitioning done between the 39th and 40th floor? Like glass partitions, anything?
There's a glass handrail and a glass guardrail. Sorry, a glass guardrail on the stair and around the opening. So no, there's no partitioning. There's essentially this opening at 40 down below to 39.
Jace, when the doors that are on the hold opens on 38, when they close, I mean, effectively it becomes a 2-story opening. I mean, for all intents and purposes. I mean, it's no longer connecting 3 floors.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how. Yeah, when they have the opening there, that's what caused. I think Richard also looked at the commentary, so based on those drawings, I think that's why we refused it.
Yeah, the horizontal opening that is kind of called out in the code section it's not really feasible construction wise, because then you're interrupting the handrails. The mechanism for doing a horizontal shutter at the floor would interrupt the handrail and the stair itself.
I'm sorry, this might have been said. Is there a door at the 39th floor at the top of that stair from the 38th floor?
At this location, no. The enclosure is down at 38.
Could there be a door at the?
We would have to enclose everything under the stair, and so this stair is essentially open to the double height space here.
And is there any kind of
technically there could be, yes, but it changes the intent of the stair.
Is there any smoke soffit or around the stair well on?
No. I mean, there could be a glass curtain around, or a glass baffle around the opening here. The client had asked us to avoid that if possible.
And John Dimes, did you have any thoughts or comments on this?
No, I mean, again, we all know smoke travels. I understand why the code is the code. If she can just comment one more time on when that door does close, or Chase, maybe you can tell me when the door does close, if it's on a hold open and it closes, if the door was closed, would it be compliant?
Um,
No.
from a black and white perspective, no, but we were trying to limit the volume on the level below
I got you.
39. So
Yeah.
at the
So
level of
it's still,
38. So
yeah,
we,
you still need a true variance, right? Okay.
right.
Yeah, so it's just really what the board does. I mean, it's kind of weird because maybe I'm the only one in the room that's experienced how fast and how quick smoke does travel. And, it's, until you experience it, it's just theory, but it is amazing. I mean, so I understand why the code is what the code is, and it's just a matter of if the board wants to give the variance, but I guess it does not meet the minimum standard of the code, so it would be up to the board at that point.
So if the fire door closes at the 38th floor. In theory, the way this is partitioned off, there should not be any smoke coming from the 38th floor up into that space.
Correct.
That would be the intent, yes.
And what would trigger those doors to close?
The fire alarm system. So if the smoke detector goes off or someone pulls the fire alarm, those doors would close.
Yep.
Okay. And is there a smoke detector that's sort of in the path of, essentially in the vicinity of where they are? Like, sort of both sides of the door.
That's true. It's a lot of buildings are built now that are sprinklered in certain occupancy types. Am I right, Chase? That don't have smoke detectors throughout. They just have them in lobbies.
Yeah, depending on what the use is.
Yep.
Check.
So Jason, this stairway wasn't closed with a door at the top of the 39th floor and there were walls surrounding it. Would it then be allowed?
They would, as long as they meet the other requirements for vertical openings. For the board, maybe to make them feel comfortable, we can go through each of the sections. We could cross out the things that they don't comply with.
Okay, yeah, because it's kind of just a general listing.
Right.
And realistically, with double doors as opposed to a single door, is that as resistant to smoke penetration as a single, or close enough? I mean, those are not.
So the door that we're specifying is a total door system. So it's a fully tested system. And so
Hey,
it
what's
would
up?
function in
Okay, you can play in the bedroom.
with the rating that it's labeled as.
Are you guys done playing video games?
Hillary, you might want to mute yourself.
Hillary. Yeah. So is it actually, does it become a rated door, or is it simply a smoke barrier?
No, it's a rated door. Yeah.
Or it's rated?
Yeah,
Sure.
sorry, I'm trying to find the smoke detector locations. Apologies.
Laura, I think we could summarize that
Mhm.
if we need a detector on both sides of the doors, we would provide it.
Yeah, if we need a detector on either side of the door, then we could certainly provide it and make sure that it's there. I'm trying to find the layout drawing, but I'm not seeing it. It looks like these are horn strobes.
Right.
See any notes? Yeah. So if we needed to provide a smoke detector on the inside, and because there is a ceiling to about this this point here. So we could provide one on the ceiling of 38 here and then also directly outside of the door. And I believe that the tie-in system too is there's options for if there's a direct relay to a smoke detector or a heat detector in the area to trigger these doors to close. So if in the event of, you know, a fire being in that vicinity, that it would catch that first and close immediately.
Heat detectors, I'm sorry, heat detectors would probably be less desirable only because, you know, it takes a while to heat up to
Right.
whatever it's set at. And you can do both, you know, a certain temperature and what they call a rate of rise, but still it's not going to trigger it as quick as a smoke detector.
Got it.
Then doors would, if there was a fire on the other part of the floor, the doors would close on under a flow switch from a sprinkler system too, right?
Yeah, so if any part of the fire alarm system is triggered and on any of the floors, these doors would close. You know, they'd be on magnetic hold opens with a relay switch, and once the fire system is triggered, then these doors would close.
Ed, Amy, you want to caucus?
Sure.
I'd like Jace to go through the code components.
Okay, go ahead, Jace. You have it.
Give me a sec. Can you stop sharing?
Sure.
Yeah. All right, let me know if you can see my screen. Do you see the code?
Not yet.
Not yet.
There we go.
Do now, yes.
Okay. So this is vertical opening 712. Each vertical opening should comply with 712.1 through 1.16. Vertical openings contained entirely within the shaft enclosure. This is not a dwelling unit, so that doesn't comply. This is not for escalator opening, so that doesn't comply. Penetrations and penetrating, but they're not providing the required protection. Joints, duct air transfer openings, all penetrations and air transfer openings shall comply with the IMC. This is technically considered an atrium now, right, Laura?
Yes, yeah, because it's more than 2 floors. Yeah.
2 floors, so then they would have to comply with section 404. That's why I was asking about smoke control. I'll go over to section 404 after this section. This is the section that kind of hits them hard. 2-story openings, and other than group I2 and I3, which they're considered business occupancy, a vertical opening that is not used as one of the applications listed in this section shall be permitted if the opening complies with all the following items. So it does not connect more than 2 stories. They connect technically 3. Sorry. Does not penetrate a horizontal assembly. Not concealed within construction of a wall. Not open to a corridor, that doesn't apply. Not open to corridor or non-sprinklered. This whole building sprinklered. Is separated from floor openings and air transfer openings. It's not separated. It's not a parking garage. So this whole section doesn't comply. Not a mezzanine. It's not considered an exit access stairway. Yeah, but that's the majority of the things that they don't comply with. And then we'll go to section 404 because it's considered an atrium. So the atrium, they have a sprinkler system, fire alarm system. They need smoke control. They're not going to be complying with that. The enclosure of the atrium, they won't be complying with that either. 7. I'm not sure whether they have standby power for the building. That's for the smoke
Yes.
control. I think your travel distances are okay because you provide the required exits. This is just a convenience there.
Mhm.
Yeah, but those are the things that they don't comply with.
And if this, again, if this were just between 2 floors, they would not be considered an atrium?
No.
Correct.
The definition real quick. Oh, sorry, an opening connecting 2 or more stories other than enclosed stairway. So that is still. No, it says opening connecting 2 or more stories.
Okay. So even 1 flight of stairs would be considered an atrium.
Yep.
But a stair connecting 2 floors doesn't trigger the smoke system.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, do you guys want to caucus?
Yes.
Yep.
Thanks, Jason.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, is everybody back?
Mhm.
All right, this is what we came up with. On the 38th floor, we want smoke detectors inside and out of the glass door on, or whatever door you have down there on the 38th floor. Okay, and on the 39th floor, we need a smoke barrier all the way around the opening, on the 39th floor. Is that, how big is that, Ted? What we said, it's all the way around the whole.
It's
perimeter
under
of the stairways?
cutout on the 40th floor cutout. There appears to be a wall on the 39th floor on the one side of the stair. So it would need to return to that. And terminology, Jace or John, is that a smoke shelf or you're on 40?
I know, I'm just showing the outline of it.
Right there.
Yeah.
And then that had to be, what, 18 inches down?
That's.
Yeah, is there a wall here between the 38th and 39th, or the 39th and 40th floor?
There's yes, there's
Amy, go to
between
the
38
39th
and
floor.
39, yes, there is.
Yeah, Amy, go to the 39th floor as well. Just slide to that.
There we go. Yep.
And is that a
Even
curtain,
here, there's a full wall.
basically a curtain pocket, basically, that we're seeing there? Or?
It's a sculptural wall. So there are metal rods installed vertically.
Oh, okay, got it.
The ceiling on this level is 8'6".
That would come down to 7 feet.
Yeah.
Gulp. John, would a 12-inch shelf be effective?
Yeah, that's not something I could speak to, Ted.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that would be a guess on my part.
So this is basically flat 8.6 throughout that whole area there.
Mm-hmm.
What you're yeah, we're trying to,
The floor to floor height and the structure is challenging with the mechanical systems.
yeah.
Yeah, because that,
Our biggest concern.
well, wait a minute. So here's the edge of that opening at the 40th. It's below this column line. No, never mind.
Yeah, I
I was
mean,
thinking, well, where this stair comes up, I guess the edge of that opening's right there, so.
yeah, our concern is smoke migration between 39 and 40, obviously, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever can be done to, you know, I mean, we considered a kind of glass, you know, wall on the other side of the stair there and glass doors on this on 39. But that gets very convoluted given
The floor opening.
yeah.
Well, most in commercial buildings, is the minimum ceiling height in a stair still 6'8"?
It's 7'6", I believe. Along yeah, so a minimum passageway would be the 6'8", but then projection of a ceiling in the space would need to be 7'6", I believe.
Yeah, I think Amy, that 6'8", it's only head clearance in these going up and down the stairs or going through an opening.
Like a doorway or something.
You're right at the stairs, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, if you are at 6'8" to 8'6", that would be, I mean, that, so a 7 foot, you know, essentially glass valance in that area. I mean, that's essentially over
I
that
made it.
social, yeah. Hmm. I mean, does anybody have any thoughts about, I mean, I guess we would need it to be 18-inch, you know, so which would take it to 7 feet.
Right.
And if for any reason that's not doable, then we need to revisit it.
Is it possible to pocket up kind of a limited area around the opening to push that up a little bit?
Your mechanical system would.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it would have to be limited. And I don't know if that negates the
Is this all new ductwork?
volume.
Or is it?
No, there's the main branches we're trying to keep.
Yeah. I mean, if that whole bay, I mean, the kind of the width of the
Mm-hmm.
whatever is kind of the poche on the left. I mean, that whole
Yeah,
you know, that whole that pop out. If that had a 9 foot ceiling and you then came down to 7'6", that would be.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what you're thinking of, you know.
Yeah, that's more or less, yeah, that's
yeah,
kind of what the thought was.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Gonna be where all the smoke goes.
For it to be effective, well, actually, hang on. I mean, you could almost, where the boardroom is, and going to that area, the other side looks like it's it's really part of what I see the barista. I assume that's some kind of cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jace, what are your thoughts on this smoke draft being at an elevation of 7 foot?
I would just say it's not compliant. Unfortunately.
Does it create any other issues other than just, I mean, you're allowed to have 7 feet in a kitchen, label the whole room a kitchen. I just
Pretty sure our client will take issue with the 7-foot clearance.
I mean, I think if you were able to jump the ceiling up over that whole area, I think you would need to have, you couldn't just pocket an area that was really close to where that, 18-inch drop happens. Because the smoke, it needs to be able to hug the ceiling and then have 18 inches that it runs into. I'm just.
So if this was only a stair connecting 39 and 40 with this opening, the code would not require this baffle smoke draft.
Oh, would it get Jace?
Just
two stories?
Like the fact that we're sectioning ourselves off with, barriers from 38, in essence, it's really just the 2 floors, 39 and 40, that if it was only a double height space, a draft stop would not be required in that condition by code.
I think that is correct.
So I'm just wondering, we're creating something that wouldn't be necessary if that stair to 38 didn't exist. But with our 2-hour barrier, we're providing that protection.
Right, but if those doors were, I don't know, if they were on closers instead of hold opens, I don't know whether that changes the nature of it.
Does a different type of door make you more comfortable with it
Yeah.
as a shutter versus a door? Or...
Yeah, we wondered about that, but
because it is a rated tested assembly,
right,
for continuity of the same rating as the floor between 38 and 35.
Yeah, you're counting on the release to happen in the event of an emergency. I don't know whether that, I mean, Jace, is that a nuance or is that just semantics?
I don't have access to the commentary, but I mean, I think it's kind of like semantics, to be honest with you. I'm not 100% sure. I don't have it in front of me.
Well, the code allows you to have things on hold open in places, so that we rely upon it all the time for emergency situations.
I know.
Fire shutter would be the same
thing
concept, right? So it would have to be a door that's closed all the time, not on hold opens with the closer.
Yeah.
To kind of change the intent, I guess.
Is this the 38th floor and it's not showing any door?
This looks like a previous iteration prior to us submitting for permit. Are these the permit? Oh yeah, sorry. This is the previous sketch. We initially had a horizontal fire shutter, so you can see that bump out in the wall to the left of the stair was supposed to be the pocket for the shutter. So that was that ended up being too pricey, so we went with a door on hold opens.
All right, this is what we were given.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
I'll
yep.
just stop share that. If it's
Yeah, here I can. Let me share my
I
screen.
don't think we need. We need to see the plan while we discuss it.
No.
So I'm not sure why we're discussing whether or not these doors should be on hold open. Should they absolutely be on hold open?
I think the concern was that if the hold open fails to release during an event, right? That's the concern.
Yeah, I was simply asking whether that is less reliable than if they were on closers, and whether that changes the way that L&I considers it. And
Would that be?
Yeah,
Jason shaking his head now.
the door does have a closer. It just has the hold open, right? So you would have to remove the hold open. And does that change the interpretation or the understanding of it?
Yeah, that was sort of my question. I think
Okay.
Jason, not really. Yeah.
I'm assuming that because they are rated doors, they are not glass.
No, they're not glass.
I don't mind them being on hold open.
Right. Yeah. No, I think so. I think it comes down to we'd still be looking for an 18-inch minimum smoke
Draft curtain.
draft curtain. Yeah.
Even though we wouldn't need it if it was a 2-story space.
We're using that as a proviso to allow something that is not allowed by code. So
right.
Yeah, we're trying to get a comfort level with limiting smoke migration from 39 to 40 sufficiently, and vice versa. I mean, it shouldn't be an issue 40 to 39. Although, again, John, you can probably speak to this more, will smoke on the 40th floor make its way to the 39th, even though it's dropping through, it's traveling down.
It's called stratification. It can happen once it gets packed down, and it has even if it has some places to go, depending on the rate burn and the heat and the smoke and the combustibles and the type of combustibles, smoke will still stratify and come down. It will bank down. So yes, the answer would be yes.
Yeah, we wondered whether there was any value in a draft curtain on the 40th floor as well above around there, but unless John, you felt that would be a significant, positive.
What be another draft curtain? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
At the very top.
Amy, if you slide that over, I guess, to show the.
It's not me. Not mine.
Sorry.
So
Yeah, right.
A draft curtain at the ceiling here.
Well, in that case, we would have the cutout, and it would simply on the 40th, it would just be around the stair.
Oh, I see.
In the ceiling of 39, the ceiling of 40. Ted, is that what you're saying?
No, the ceiling of the 40th, it would have to be around the whole thing. You want to keep the smoke out of that whole area so it doesn't drop down.
Yeah, I guess it would. Yeah, it would be around the whole. It would basically be the same footprint as on.
Right.
On
39.
Just trying to. It's getting late.
But John, is there any merit to that? Adding it at the very top as well.
I mean, if it's gonna give you more time as far as getting to a stair, but these are communicating stairs, correct?
Right.
It's not a stair tower. So,
Mm-mm.
I mean, people are gonna be running for the fire exits, not here. It's just a matter of, you don't want the smoke and the heat going, obviously, I'm stating the obvious. So I don't see it being a huge benefit, but anytime you have a smoke
Okay.
curtain or something, you know, so.
Well, then can we give the variance with the smoke curtain at the ceiling of the 39th floor with the variance for the head height?
And they're not proposing a smoke control system either.
They are not.
No.
And the head height, you know, is only if you find that you can't raise the ceiling in that area
Mhm.
sufficiently, another 6
Right.
inches.
Mhm. Is there a certain distance from, I'm less concerned about the kind of on the east side of the stair here, raising the ceiling below this. It's really because we have structure here and here. Is there a specific distance it would need to be raised from? Because if it only steps up 6 inches away from the baffle, I'm not sure that that meets the
Well,
intent
that's what I
of the
was saying
baffle, right?
before. That's why, yeah, no.
Yeah.
It seems like you would want it to be in a logical place, and it just, from the floor plan, the bigger floor plan, it looked like you would want it to be further away from there anyhow, but
I
Yeah.
still think that elevation should remain the same all the way around. If you step it up somewhere, that's your breach, if you will. Even if the ceiling locally is higher, it's still kind
It
of a
would be
breach
the
of that barrier.
ceiling. It would be the ceiling that steps up, not the baffle. Wouldn't. The baffle would be all the same height, right? So, but if the ceiling was only able to step up on, you know, this side of this beam right here, and it's pretty close to where that baffle is going to be, does that meet the intent of the baffle?
Sort of a pocket in the ceiling that creates some cavity.
Yeah. So essentially your
is
step
that
would
new
be.
structure that's in there, or is that?
I'm
original?
sorry?
Is that new structure?
No, this is existing structure, but we do have new structure to pick up the stair here.
Yeah.
And here.
Yeah, I've worked in two Liberty, not one Liberty, and there's the structure, there may be room. I mean, you know, you may be able to get that whole, that bay basically between E and F, you know,
Yeah, here.
certainly, yeah, but actually, sorry, go back to the bigger plan for a second.
We're trying to raise the ceiling in that limited area just so the smoke baffle doesn't come down as far.
Right.
John, does that make sense to you? It doesn't to me.
Yeah, that's it's
Yeah. No, what I was assuming is that you're raising that a wider area, and really that
out
whole
here.
thing, yeah, and that by doing that, you know, yeah, I agree that jumping up 6 inches away from the, you know, from the glass would not, you know, do much. You want it to be further.
Right.
So, I don't know, just.
Sorry, I think the Zoom is making my computer run a little bit slow, but I'm trying to pull up a reflected ceiling plan so we can look at that.
Yeah, I mean, we're not necessarily trying to solve it and resolve it right now.
Yeah.
But I think we do have the concern that it be enough of a shelf that it's effective.
Right.
And
I just have a question. Jace, if this were, say, connecting stair only from 39 to 40, and then somewhere else on the floor plate, they had a connecting stair from 38 to 39, would it still be one issue?
I think it's still connecting.
You're still saying it's a 3-story?
Yeah.
Okay.
as long as you could get from one to the other without passing through.
Going through some kind of assembly.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's what I call. I mean, I had to look at the commentary to see if there's another way around that, but I can't tell you at this time. I had to review commentary and.
That's fine. I was just curious.
Where we at?
But we're still where we were, right? I mean, in terms of what we're comfortable.
The smoke detectors and the baffles.
Yeah. And again, we make a recommendation to the commissioner, and he, if he's in agreement, those would be the provisos for the the variance.
So are we doing that then? And then somehow have a variance for the head height of that baffle?
Yeah, but their client may not be, willing to do that.
Yeah.
So it'll have to be revisited. And
We're trying to do what we can. I mean,
yeah.
So
I understand.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, we were hopeful that the kind of negligible volume below level 39 and the rated enclosure would get us there, but I understand.
Yeah.
Is that the head height, is that the issue right now?
no, they don't want to see the baffle. They don't want the baffle.
I think the height of the baffle is not compliant either, right? Or you're saying that would also be included in the variance.
I would say we'll include that in the variance.
Okay.
Yeah, we would allow it to be 7 feet.
Lower.
So choose,
Mhm.
chose whatever. But yeah, I mean, short of you just saying, well, never mind. I mean, that's the way we, we'll even write it up that way, and get it in a couple of weeks.
Would you have to check with your client and then come back to us?
I think so. Yeah, we would have to understand from the client if they're willing to take a lower baffle. Obviously, I think the smoke detectors are a non-issue, that's easy to comply with, but it's the baffle really that would, that is probably, they're gonna take issue with.
You want us to continue this for 2 weeks? We meet on the 21st.
Yeah.
And come back and, you know, you find out and come back and say, okay, this is what we can do, and then based on,
We
No.
make a decision there.
you might come up with another
Solution.
Yeah.
as well.
Okay. Stephen, do you think that's an acceptable approach to continue
Yeah.
it to the 21st?
Yeah, if we could do that and then present maybe an alternative
Okay.
approach.
I will, we'll continue this to the 21st.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank
Good
you very
deal.
much.
All right,
Thank you
guys.
for your time.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
You too. Okay, let's get these things written up.
Stop recording?